Gentlemen, let me start with a question that may sting a little but could also set you free. What if the real reason your erections have weakened over the years has nothing to do with your age, your desire, or even how hard you've tried? What if all this time you've been putting your hope into the wrong supplement, magnesium, swallowing it faithfully at night, only to wake up the next morning just as frustrated, just as disappointed, and yes, just as soft as the night before? I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and for more than 3 decades I've served as a urologist, sitting across from thousands of men who thought their best days as a man were over. I've seen the sadness in their eyes, the slumped shoulders, the sense of defeat that no one dares to talk about. But I've also watched those same men come alive again, regaining strength, vitality, and intimacy when they finally discovered what I'm about to share with you tonight. Here's the paradox. You've been told magnesium supports muscles, calms your nerves, even helps you sleep. And that's true, but when it comes to your erections, magnesium is almost irrelevant. By focusing on it, many men are ignoring the real keys that restore manhood. 2 simple vitamins taken at night while you sleep, not while you're awake, have the power to revive blood flow, restore testosterone surges, and bring back the firm, dependable erections you thought belonged to your younger years. And here's my promise to you. If you stay with me through this lesson, I will reveal those 2 vitamins in detail, why they work, how to take them, and why they outperform magnesium by a mile. And I'll also give you a warning. The 3 common supplements that almost every senior man takes at night without realizing they are quietly shutting down their repair process. If you're serious about reclaiming your confidence, you cannot afford to miss this. But before we dive deeper, I need a quick favor from you. If you want to revive your erections and restore your vitality, type the number 1 in the comments right now. If you think I need to sharpen up and do better for you, type 0. I read every comment and I take them seriously because this is about your health, your dignity, and your future as a man. And while you're here, don't just watch, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another men's health lesson built just for you. Most importantly, take a second to hit that like button. Why? Because here, when you press like, you're not just helping the channel, you're setting an intention for yourself. So if you like right now, I'll wish you 3 things, man to man. May your mornings surprise you again with strength and pride you thought you'd lost. May your evenings be filled with connection, warmth, and the kind of closeness that makes life worth living. And may your days ahead feel lighter, freer, and more confident because you chose to invest in yourself. Gentlemen, these aren't empty words. They're blessings I've seen fulfilled in the lives of men older than you, men who thought they were too far gone until they discovered the truth of nighttime repair. So settle in. What I'm about to show you isn't theory, it isn't hype, it's grounded in the way your body truly works. Your penis, like every muscle and vessel in your body, does its most important repair not during the day but while you sleep. And unless you fuel that nighttime window properly, no amount of exercise, willpower, or daytime supplementation will ever bring back what you've been missing. Stay with me, because this is where everything begins to change. Gentlemen, let me share a truth that most men never realize until it's almost too late. The real repair of your manhood doesn't happen under the sun, it happens under the moon. You can eat clean, lift weights, even buy every supplement on the shelf, but if your body isn't repairing itself properly at night, your erections will remain weak, inconsistent, and disappointing. I've seen this pattern for decades. Men come into my office, shoulders sagging, telling me, "Doctor, I'm doing everything right. I eat salads, I jog 3 times a week, I take my vitamins. Why isn't it working?" And after running a few simple tests, the answer reveals itself like clockwork. Their bodies aren't taking advantage of the most powerful hours of natural healing. Between 11:00 p.m. and 3:00 a.m., your body enters its deepest recovery phase. Blood flow increases, growth hormone rises, and testosterone surges. It is during these sacred hours that your tissues knit themselves back together, your organs reset, and yes, your penis quietly rebuilds the very fibers that allow it to trap blood and form a strong erection. Without this nightly repair, no pill, no powder, no routine during the day can restore your manhood. Let me tell you about Harold Brooks, 77, a retired firefighter from Ohio. He sat in my office convinced his days as a husband were over. He said, "Doc, I've fought fires, I've climbed ladders, but this is the one fight I can't win." We focused not on his daytime habits, but on his nighttime repair. Within a matter of weeks, Harold began waking up with firm, natural erections again. The first morning it happened, he told me he just sat on the edge of the bed in disbelief, tears in his eyes. "Doctor, I thought my body had forgotten how to be a man. Turns out it just needed the right fuel at the right time. That is the power of honoring your body's nighttime window. Your penis isn't simply a muscle. It's a living system of smooth muscle fibers, endothelial cells, and tiny vessels that demand care while you sleep. If those fibers are not restored, blood slips away too quickly and what should be firm becomes fragile. And here's the real danger. Most men unknowingly sabotage this window. They either fail to give their body what it needs or worse. They take the wrong supplements before bed, shutting down the very repair they are desperate for. I'll get to those mistakes later, but for now I want you to understand this. Your body already carries the blueprint for recovery. The question is whether you will fuel it or starve it. Gentlemen, if you've been discouraged, if you've been waking up without the pride and strength you once knew, I want you to take heart. It's not too late. I've seen men in their 70s, 80s, even 90s revive what they thought was gone forever. Your body still remembers. But you must give it the right tools, especially before you close your eyes each night. And that brings us to the first of those tools, a nutrient so vital that men with low levels face a 60% higher risk of dysfunction. A nutrient many of you think of only as a sunshine vitamin for bones, but in truth, it's the activator of nighttime repair. That nutrient is vitamin D3, and it's where your comeback story begins. Gentlemen, when I bring up vitamin D3 in conversations with older men, I usually get a polite nod followed by a shrug. Most of you think of it as the sunshine vitamin, something your doctor mentions for bones or maybe for keeping your immune system strong in the winter. What you don't realize, and what nobody bothers to tell you, is that vitamin D3 is also one of the most powerful activators of your manhood. Yes, your erections depend on it in ways you've never imagined. Here's the science in plain English. As you drift into the deepest stages of sleep, vitamin D3 binds to special receptors inside the tissues of your penis. Think of it as a master key sliding into a lock that has been waiting for years to be opened. Once that key turns, your body begins pulling in calcium and phosphorus, two minerals essential for rebuilding smooth muscle fibers. And those fibers are not just decoration. They are the very scaffolding that allows your penis to trap blood and hold it firm. Without strong fibers, blood leaks away too quickly, and what should be proud and powerful ends up soft and fleeting. But that's not the end of the story. Vitamin D3 also sparks your body's production of testosterone while you sleep. And that surge of testosterone is like gasoline on the fire of your masculinity. It fuels desire, energy, and the ability to sustain strong erections long after most men your age have given up. Let me tell you about George Mitchell, a 72-year-old retired engineer from Michigan. He came to me embarrassed, whispering that he hadn't had a dependable erection in years. His blood work showed critically low vitamin D levels. We put him on the right dose at the right time before bed with a meal that contained healthy fats like olive oil and salmon. Within 3 months, George returned to my office, grinning like a schoolboy. His testosterone had climbed significantly, his morning erections were back, and he said to me, "Dr. Prescott, I feel 20 years younger. My wife keeps asking what changed, and I just smile." That moment reminded me why I do this work. It's not just about numbers on a chart, it's about restoring dignity, confidence, and the ability to live as the man you still are inside. Now here's the sobering truth. Most seniors are dangerously deficient in vitamin D. Why? Because as we age, our skin loses its efficiency to absorb sunlight. You could spend hours outdoors and still not make enough. Add to that the fact that food alone rarely provides what's needed, and you begin to see why deficiency is the rule, not the exception. That's why supplementation is so powerful, especially when timed properly at night. Taken with an evening meal that includes healthy fats, vitamin D3 aligns perfectly with your body's natural repair cycle. It doesn't just float around aimlessly. It partners with your deepest sleep to fuel recovery where you need it most. But let me be clear. Don't think of vitamin D3 as some magic bullet you can take once and forget about. It works best as part of a nightly ritual, an act of honoring your body's blueprint for repair. Pairing vitamin D3 with consistent sleep and healthy evening habits creates a foundation where your manhood can truly thrive again. Gentlemen, I've seen this transformation more times than I can count. Men who thought they were finished. Men who were ready to surrender only to find themselves renewed simply by restoring what nature had quietly stolen from them. And if you're listening to me right now, you need to hear this. Your body is not broken. It is waiting for the right spark. Vitamin D3 is that spark. But there's a catch, and this is where many men stumble. Vitamin D3 is only half of the equation. It can unlock the door, but without the ignition, the engine won't start. That ignition is another mineral, just as essential, one that fuels over 300 enzymes and fires up your testosterone release during the very hours when your body repairs itself. Without it, no amount of vitamin D3 can finish the job. That mineral is zinc, and gentlemen, it is the testosterone igniter. And it's exactly what we'll talk about next. Gentlemen, if vitamin D3 is the master key that unlocks the door to your manhood, then zinc is the ignition switch that fires up the engine. You can think of vitamin D3 and zinc as partners. One prepares the ground, the other lights the flame. Without zinc, your body simply cannot produce the testosterone that fuels strength, vitality, and erections worth remembering. Let me put this in perspective. Zinc is responsible for more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, most of them working silently while you sleep. These reactions regulate tissue repair, DNA synthesis, and immune defense. But perhaps its most crucial role for men is enabling your testes to release testosterone during deep sleep. Without zinc, the repair process grinds to a halt. It's like having a car with a full tank of gas but no spark plug to ignite the fuel. I'll never forget the case of Samuel Carter, a 68-year-old retired math teacher from Texas. He was diligent, ate well, exercised regularly, and even started supplementing with vitamin D3 after our first conversation. But when he came back for follow-up, he was still flat, no energy, no desire, no morning strength. His labs gave us the answer. His zinc levels were alarmingly low. We added a simple zinc supplement to his nightly ritual. Within just a few weeks, his entire demeanor shifted. He walked into my office with a grin, his posture taller, his voice filled with energy. "Dr. Prescott," he said, "I feel like I've stepped back in time. My wife keeps looking at me like she remembers the man she married. That's not just biology, that's dignity restored. Here's why zinc is such a game changer. During deep sleep, your body releases pulses of luteinizing hormone, the signal that tells your testes to produce testosterone. But without zinc, that signal fizzles. With zinc, it fires like a cannon. And when testosterone rises, everything changes: energy, confidence, erections, and even the subtle sense of being fully alive in your own skin. Now you might assume you're safe because you eat a decent diet. Unfortunately, studies show that nearly 40% of older men are zinc deficient, often without knowing it. Why? Because aging reduces absorption, certain medications deplete it, and our modern diet rarely supplies enough. Add to that the fact that stress and alcohol drain your zinc reserves, and you begin to see why deficiency is so common and so devastating. Food alone can't always bridge the gap. Oysters, beef, and pumpkin seeds are excellent sources, but unless you eat them daily in generous amounts, you may still fall short. That's why supplementation is practical, especially for men past 60. I typically recommend 15 to 30 milligrams of zinc taken with a full glass of water about 2 hours before bed. That timing aligns perfectly with your body's hormonal surges, ensuring that zinc is available exactly when it's needed most. Gentlemen, I don't say this lightly. Zinc can change the course of your nights. It doesn't just give you firmer erections. It gives you back the pride of waking up strong, the joy of reconnecting with your partner, the sense that age has not stolen your essence as a man. And I've witnessed it not just in labs and charts, but in the smiles, the laughter, and yes, the tears of men who thought their flame was gone. But here's a warning. Even if you take vitamin D3 and zinc faithfully, you can still sabotage your progress without realizing it. Because so many of you with the best intentions are taking the wrong supplement at night, one that has been marketed as the miracle mineral for men, but in reality does almost nothing for your erections. I'm talking about magnesium, and it's time we confronted the myth head-on. Gentlemen, let's have an honest conversation. For years, magazines, health blogs, even some well-meaning doctors have told you that magnesium is the mineral every man needs. They say it calms your muscles, helps you sleep, and keeps your body strong. And you know what? That part is true. Magnesium does relax your muscles. It can quiet your nerves and give you a sense of calm at bedtime. But here's the reality no one wants to say out loud. Magnesium will not bring back your erections. I can't count the number of times men have come into my office proudly holding a bottle of magnesium pills, convinced they had finally found the solution. One gentleman, Franklin Hayes, 81, a Vietnam veteran from Georgia, looked at me with so much hope in his eyes. He told me, "Doctor, I've been taking this faithfully for years. Every night. My wife says I seem calmer, but nothing has changed where it matters most." When we ran his labs, the truth became painfully clear. His testosterone was flat, his zinc levels were dangerously low, and his vitamin D was almost non-existent. No wonder he was struggling. Here's the problem: erections are not just about being relaxed. They are about blood flow, testosterone production, and the ability of smooth muscle fibers inside your penis to trap that blood and hold it. Magnesium doesn't ignite testosterone. It doesn't rebuild smooth muscle. It doesn't push nutrients into your penile tissue where they are desperately needed. At best, it helps you drift into sleep. At worst, it distracts you from the real nutrients like vitamin D3 and zinc that actually fuel repair and recovery. I know this may sting, especially if you've invested years or even decades into the magnesium myth. But I would rather tell you the truth than let you waste precious time. Franklin was living proof. Once he stopped relying on magnesium and began focusing on the real drivers of nighttime repair, vitamin D3 and zinc, his mornings began to change. Within a month, he walked back into my office with a smile I'll never forget. "Doctor," he said, "I thought I was too old. Turns out I was just taking the wrong thing." Gentlemen, that's why I urge you, don't fall for the magnesium promise. It's not harmful in moderate amounts, but it's not the miracle mineral for manhood you've been told it is either. If you're serious about restoring your erections, you cannot afford to spend your nights fueling the wrong system. Now, here's where it gets even more important. Because while magnesium doesn't help, there are other supplements that can actively sabotage your progress if taken at night. Supplements that look innocent, even healthy, but which quietly disrupt your body's deepest recovery cycles. And the truth is, most men over 60 swallow at least one of them almost every week. Let's uncover those next. The 3 supplements you must never take at night if you want your body to repair itself and your manhood to return. Gentlemen, now we come to one of the most overlooked truths in men's health. Timing matters. You could be taking the right nutrients, eating the right meals, even exercising faithfully, but if you swallow the wrong supplements at the wrong time, especially at night, you can sabotage your own progress without realizing it. And what's worse, the very pills you believe are helping you may be quietly shutting down the repair process your manhood depends on. Over the years, I've watched this mistake derail countless men. They would sit across from me, frustrated, swearing they had done everything right. One man, Robert Jenkins, 76, a retired truck driver from Indiana, told me, "Doctor, I've been faithful to my routine vitamins, exercise, diet. Why is nothing happening?" When I asked him what he was taking at night, he listed 3 common supplements that explained everything. The first culprit is the B-complex family. Don't misunderstand me, these vitamins are excellent in the morning. They boost energy, sharpen focus, and keep your nerves firing efficiently. But at night, they do the opposite of what your body needs. They stimulate the nervous system, elevate your heart rate just enough to disrupt rest, and keep your brain buzzing when it should be sinking into deep recovery. Robert was taking his B-complex faithfully after dinner, and it was blocking the very sleep cycles his penis depended on to rebuild. When he switched them to mornings, his sleep deepened, and within weeks his morning erections began to stir again. The second troublemaker is vitamin C. Surprised? Most men are. We've been told for decades to load up on vitamin C for immunity, and yes, it helps protect you during cold and flu season. But at night, it actually interferes with the subtle oxidative stress your body uses to trigger repair. Instead of allowing your penile tissue to rebuild, vitamin C silences those signals. The result? You toss, you turn, and you miss the very window where testosterone and blood flow repair should be happening. I recall a patient, Earl Simmons, 70, a retired Navy mechanic, who had been swallowing vitamin C tablets after dinner for years. Once he moved them to the morning, he called me weeks later and said, "Doctor, I never knew sleep could feel this deep. I wake up now with strength I thought was gone." And then there's the third, caffeine. Most of you know better than to drink a cup of coffee at 9 p.m. But what many don't realize is that caffeine hides in supplements, energy boosters, and even certain nighttime blends marketed as sleep aids. Caffeine raises cortisol, the stress hormone that directly suppresses testosterone. It cuts short your deepest sleep cycles and leaves you weaker by morning. One man in his early 80s discovered that his so-called herbal night drink contained hidden caffeine. No wonder he couldn't sleep, no wonder his mornings were flat. Once he cut it out, his strength began to return. Gentlemen, this is why I say your nights must be sacred, They are not hours for stimulation or distraction. They are hours for repair. No B-complex, no vitamin C, no caffeine after sunset. If you must take them, do it earlier in the day when they can serve your energy and focus without robbing your recovery. I know it sounds simple, but trust me, it's often the small changes that make the biggest difference. Robert Earl and so many others didn't need a dozen new pills or fancy treatments. They simply needed to stop sabotaging their own nights. And now, before I take you deeper into the emotional truth of why this journey matters, I want to pause. Because many of you write to me, leave comments, even challenge what I say, and I value that interaction. So let's take a moment to open your letters and questions, the honest, sometimes tough words from men just like you. Gentlemen, one of the things I treasure most about this community is the honesty you bring to the table. Some of you write with gratitude, some with skepticism, some with tough questions, and I welcome all of it. Tonight, I want to pause and respond directly to a handful of comments and letters that have come in. These voices matter because they represent what many of you are truly thinking, even if you don't say it out loud. Question 1 from Charles, 74, California. Dr. Prescott, I've taken magnesium every night for 10 years. Are you saying I've completely wasted my time? Charles, let me start with this. You didn't waste your time, but you did aim at the wrong target. Magnesium may have helped your sleep or eased muscle cramps, and that's valuable. But if your goal was to restore erections, magnesium wasn't the tool for the job. Think of it like polishing the hood of a car. When the engine won't start, it looks nice, but it doesn't get you moving. Don't beat yourself up. Many men were sold the same story. The good news, once you pivot to vitamin D3 and zinc, your nights can finally work for you instead of against you. Question 2 from Anthony, 69, New York. Doctor, I'm skeptical. You're telling me 2 vitamins can do what expensive pills and procedures can't? Sounds too simple. Anthony, I appreciate your skepticism. It tells me you're paying attention. And you're right, it does sound simple, but simple doesn't mean weak. Nature often works quietly and powerfully when you stop interfering with it. I'm not claiming vitamin D3 and zinc are magic bullets. What I'm saying is they fuel your body's own blueprint for repair. That's not hype, that's physiology. Pills and procedures often bypass the body while these nutrients support it at its core. In my decades as a urologist, I've seen over and over again that when men honor the basics, their bodies respond in ways no drug could ever fully replicate. Question 3 from Harold, 77, Florida. Dr. Prescott, I tried zinc once, but it upset my stomach. Am I doomed? Harold, not at all. Zinc can be tricky if taken on an empty stomach. It may cause nausea or discomfort. My advice, take it with a small evening snack, something with a bit of protein or fat, like a slice of cheese, a boiled egg, or a spoonful of yogurt. That usually solves the problem. The key is not to give up on the first try. Your body needs zinc, it just wants you to deliver it in a way it can handle. Question 4 from an anonymous commenter. Doctor, this is all nonsense. Erections fade because we get old. Stop selling false hope. To my anonymous friend, I hear your frustration. Aging does change the body, no question, but aging does not erase the blueprint for repair. I've seen men in their 80s recover erections they thought were gone forever, not because of fantasy, but because they fueled their bodies correctly. False hope is cruel. I don't deal in that. What I offer is grounded in science and confirmed by experience. If you choose not to believe, that's your right, but I will continue to stand with the men who refuse to surrender without a fight. Question 5 from David, 65, Arizona. Dr. Prescott, how long will it take before I notice a difference if I start tonight? David, the timeline varies, but here's what I've observed. Some men notice deeper sleep and a slight return of morning strength in just a few weeks. For others, it takes 2 to 3 months for testosterone levels to rise and for erections to regain firmness. The key is consistency. This isn't about a one-night miracle, it's about building momentum. Think of it as planting a tree. The seed doesn't sprout overnight, but once it takes root, it grows stronger each season. Gentlemen, I share these questions not just to give you answers, but to remind you that you are not alone. Your doubts, your struggles, your frustrations, they are shared by thousands of men listening right now. And if there's one thing I want you to take from this segment, it's that you still have options, you still have hope, and you still have the power to change the story of your manhood. Now let's move from questions to something even deeper, the emotional truth. Because this journey is not only about hormones and blood flow. It's about dignity, confidence, and what it means to feel alive as a man over 60. Gentlemen, let's pause for a moment and step beyond the science. Because this journey isn't just about vitamin D3, zinc, or hormones. It's about something deeper, something every man feels but few dare to speak aloud. When your erections fade, it isn't only a physical change. It cuts into your confidence, your sense of manhood, and the way you look at yourself in the mirror. I've had men sit across from me, their hands trembling, their voices dropping to whispers as they confess their shame. Not shame of weakness in the gym, not shame of slowing down at work, but shame that they could no longer respond to the woman who had shared their bed for decades. That kind of pain doesn't show up on a lab report. It shows up in the quiet moments at night when you turn away instead of reaching out, when you pretend to sleep because you're afraid of disappointment. One patient, Edward Lawrence, 82, a retired carpenter from Pennsylvania, told me something that broke my heart. He said, "Doctor, I don't even hold my wife's hand anymore. I'm afraid she'll expect more and I can't give it to her." His eyes filled with tears as he explained how guilty he felt, as though he had failed her. Not as a provider, not as a protector, but as a husband. We worked on his nighttime repair, restoring vitamin D3 and zinc, cutting out the supplements that were sabotaging him. Months later, Edward came back to see me. His face looked 10 years younger, not because of smoother skin or fewer wrinkles, but because of joy. He said, "Doctor, last night I held her hand again, and for the first time in years I felt like her husband." Gentlemen, that is the truth you won't find in medical journals. This is not only about biology, it's about dignity, connection, and the simple human desire to feel alive. Your erections are not just about sex. They are a reflection of vitality, independence, and the bond you share with your partner. They remind you that you are still here, still capable, still fully a man. And here's what I want you to hear clearly. It is not too late. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your body still carries the blueprint for recovery. Age may slow the process, but it doesn't erase it. What determines your future is whether you fuel that blueprint or let it wither. So if you've been discouraged, if you've felt less like yourself, if you've carried guilt that doesn't belong to you, take heart. You are not broken. You are not finished. You are simply waiting to give your body the right conditions to heal. This is why I fight for men's health, because I know what it means when a man regains his strength. It isn't measured in numbers, it's measured in the laughter at the dinner table, the spark in his partner's eyes, the pride of waking up in the morning with energy and confidence. And now the question becomes, how do you turn this knowledge into action? What can you do tonight? Not next month, not next year, but tonight to give your body the best chance at revival. That's exactly where we're headed next. A simple, practical, step-by-step plan you can begin before you close your eyes tonight. Gentlemen, knowledge without action is just another story. What matters is what you do tonight, because tonight, as you prepare for bed, you hold in your hands the power to begin your own comeback. Let me lay it out for you step by step in the simplest, most practical way possible. Step 1, retire the magnesium. If you've been leaning on it, set that bottle aside. Magnesium may help you feel calm, but it will not restore your erections. I want your nights to serve one purpose: repair. And for that, you need nutrients that actually rebuild your manhood. Step 2, take vitamin D3 with your evening meal. Aim for 2,000 to 4,000 EU, ideally with foods rich in healthy fats like salmon, avocado, or olive oil. Why the fat? Because vitamin D3 is fat-soluble. It needs that partner to slip into your system efficiently. Taken with dinner. It will be ready to activate your body's repair cycle as you sink into deep sleep. Step 3, take zinc 2 hours before bed. Choose a dosage of 15 to 30 milligrams. Wash it down with a full glass of water. This timing allows zinc to move into your system just as your testosterone and growth hormone are primed to surge. Think of it like fueling your furnace just before the fire is lit. Step 4, protect the sacred hours. No B-complex vitamins after sunset. No vitamin C after dinner, and absolutely no caffeine hiding in energy blends or herbal teas. Your nights are not for stimulation, they are for restoration. Guard them fiercely. Step 5, give yourself the gift of sleep. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted rest, not 4 hours here and 2 hours there. Deep sleep is where your penis repairs its smooth muscle fibers and rebuilds its ability to hold blood. If you shortchange your sleep, you shortchange your manhood. Let me tell you about Martin Delgado, 73, a retired steelworker from Illinois. He came to me exhausted, frustrated, and convinced nothing could help. We simplified everything into this exact plan: vitamin D3 with dinner, zinc before bed, no sabotaging supplements at night, and consistent sleep. Within a few weeks, Martin noticed something he hadn't felt in years: firm, natural morning erections. "Doctor," he said, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this alive again. I wake up now with pride, not disappointment." That's the power of consistency. This isn't about buying a cabinet full of pills or following complicated routines. It's about working with your body instead of against it. Every evening becomes another chance for repair. Every night becomes an opportunity to reclaim the man you thought you had lost. And don't underestimate the emotional impact. When men follow this plan, they don't just wake up stronger, they wake up hopeful. Hopeful for intimacy, for connection, for life itself. Gentlemen, I'm not offering a miracle. I'm offering a method. A way to align your habits with your body's natural blueprint for recovery. Start tonight. And tomorrow morning may already feel different. Stay with it, and in weeks you may be looking in the mirror at a man who feels younger, stronger, more himself than he has in years. Now, before we close, there's one final truth I want you to carry with you, because this journey isn't only about testosterone, blood flow, or supplements. It's about something greater, the reminder that your best years are not behind you, they are waiting to be awakened. Gentlemen, tonight we've walked a long road together. We've stripped away myths, faced some hard truths, and uncovered the simple but powerful tools that can restore the vitality you thought was lost. You now know that magnesium, while calming, will not bring back your erections. Instead, it is vitamin D3 that activates nighttime repair and zinc that ignites testosterone production, giving your body the spark it has been missing. You've learned how B-complex vitamins, vitamin C, and hidden caffeine can quietly sabotage your nights, stealing the very repair your manhood depends on. And you've heard the stories of men, Harold, George, Samuel, Franklin, Edward, Martin, who each thought their best years were behind them, only to find new strength, new pride, and new joy when they honored the blueprint their bodies still carried. Gentlemen, let this sink in. Your best years are not behind you. They are waiting to be awakened. You are not broken. You are not finished. You are still a man with the power to restore what matters most. I remember one final story. James Whitaker, 79, a retired farmer from Kansas. He looked at me and said, "Doctor, I thought I was just old. I thought this was the price of aging." But when he began the simple nighttime plan, vitamin D3 with dinner, zinc before bed, avoiding the wrong supplements, his life changed. His strength returned, his intimacy revived. And his wife whispered to him, "I have my husband back." That's not medicine, that's renewal. So tonight, as you turn off the lights, I want you to make a choice. Will you continue down the path of frustration, or will you fuel your body with what it truly needs? The steps are simple, the results are profound, and the man you want to be, the man you still are, can rise again. Before we close, I ask for two things. First, if this message spoke to you, take a moment right now to hit that like button. When you do, my wish for you is this: may your mornings surprise you with strength and pride. May your evenings bring closeness and connection, and may your days ahead feel brighter because you chose not to give up. Second, leave a comment below. Type 1 if you're ready to take action tonight. Type 0 if you want me to sharpen my message and do better. I read every word. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss another lesson built for men like you, men who still have fight left, men who refuse to surrender their dignity. Gentlemen, I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott. And as you prepare for sleep tonight, remember this: the night is not just for rest, it is for repair. Honor it, fuel it, and it will give you back more than you imagined. Your body still knows the way. All it needs is for you to take the first step. Good night, my friends, and may tomorrow morning bring you hope, strength, and the quiet pride of knowing your best years are not behind you. They're just beginning.